What's up, this is Brandon Smitley from BrandonSmitley.com. I wanted to briefly recap my training for the RPS Lexen Spring Fling over in Columbus, Ohio, that I'm going to be doing on Saturday. I basically decided to do a bench-only multiply meet, competing at 148. My first bench-only meet and my first multiply meet. I've done a push-pull, and that was also a 148 whenever I was getting started, but I was looking for something a little different to try. I just wanted to kind of recap everything that I kind of learned over this 8-week training cycle or so. So I came off the XPC finals, had a fantastic meet. I really probably couldn't have had much of a better day, but at the same time I was looking for something a little different. I wanted to take some time off from full power for a little bit, but I still had this little bit of competitive edge, and so I decided that I was going to do multiply bench only at this meet. A couple of factors. Some friends are competing, and there's also a lifter that I'm handling as well, so it kind of made sense for me to, if I'm going to do a bench only meet, I'm going to have the help there. I'm going to be there with my friends, and it's just going to be a fun time. So immediately got back into training, preparing for this, and I think I took away a lot of things that I was not expecting to take away. Now, I knew I was going to learn, that I had no question, but I think the understanding of certain things that I picked up on is going to help me in the future. So to kind of briefly recap the meet training cycle, I only had one miss. That was with 405. It was over my face. It was the second time in the shirt for the training cycle. It was like my fourth time, I think, ever in the shirt. So to me, that didn't really bother me that much, because I got right back underneath the weight again, and everything turned out being fine. So one, it taught me how to get back underneath those heavy weights and be confident and not worry about, for lack of a better term, fuck up. With the equipment, that's going to happen. You ideally don't want it to, but that's part of powerlifting. Everyone is going to miss at some point, and if you're afraid of failure, those kind of weights, you shouldn't be competing in powerlifting anyways. So that is something that helped me move forward in this training cycle from the get-go. Next thing that I learned a lot was basically how to just stay patient in the shirt. There were a lot of times I was wanting to rush things and try to be quicker, because with a raw press, you can kind of come down as fast as you want, but in a shirt that doesn't happen. There's a window and groove of where that bar wants to be, and if it's not there, that's when stuff starts to get a little sketchy. So handles weight, or the heaviest weight that I handled this prep was 425. My best in this shirt is 430 that I hit in Monster Garage Gym approximately in November or so. So I dabbled in this shirt a little bit, but not near to the amount extent that I needed to. So for the cycle, I basically had 6 weeks in the shirt, 3 weeks in, 1 week out, 3 weeks in, and then this final week out before the meet, using the metal jack bench shirt. And that setup came from Vincent DeCenzo, so I want to give credit for who that came from. That was not my planning. Vinny did not do my programming. I did my own programming. I consulted with Vinny on my programming on what I should do. Luckily enough, with my knowledge base, I kind of know how to peak and get ready for a meet, but with this, it's just, the idea was to slowly handle heavier and heavier weights, and basically determine an opener, determine what I think a second attempt might be, and then a third would be like a reach or a goal, given that the first 2 attempts go good on meet day. So, like I said, huge thanks to Vincent. Also got to give a huge thanks to Joe Jordan, Dave Tate, Ted Tolson, Molly Edwards, my training partners, Kyle, Kurt, and Trey, people for letting me travel to come get help. The YouTube comments, some of them were very helpful, others were a bit negative, which you can expect with multiply or any powerlifting almost in general. But as a whole, everybody was very supportive, and I really appreciate that. That made this a much easier process of having those people from the outside in giving me help. whether it be the internet or actually in person. The other biggest takeaway I took was how much more important technique is while being in equipment. Now, I understand technique is important to be incredibly strong and efficient in powerlifting. Everybody knows that. But when you put on a piece of equipment, it accentuates that. So if there's one little thing right or wrong, that could be a difference between a missed lift, in this case towards my face or towards my stomach, or it could be the difference between getting that lift and not getting that lift all the way up, or stalling a lockout, or whatever issues you may have. The big technical thing that I took away for me that I need to work on more is trying to actually pull the bar apart and load the lats into the shirt. While raw, that's not technically as important, the lats still need to be engaged, and then I'm finding that with my raw benching, I'm doing that more, and therefore it's leading to a better raw press. I basically worked up to around 295 raw every single time I got in the shirt, and I used that as a judgment point of where my raw bench press was. And it looked like from week to week to week, 295 was lighter, faster, more efficient, and just an overall better press for me. And that's around 90% of my best raw competition bench press. So to say that you would get weaker from getting an equipment, I would completely disagree with that. I think it's going to depend on the lifter, but I personally feel like I make progress in my bench press. One, I had to put it up more on the forefront, and because what I'm going to be competing in, but I still took something away to help my raw work as well. As for my squat and deadlift, I basically trained them completely raw, no knee wraps or anything, basically my regular off-season style of work. I pushed them a little bit, but I also knew when I went to pull back, so I knew if I was going to be getting in the shirt, I needed to pull back a little bit, and things like that. But the amount of knowledge that I took away from just an 8-week prep of being in the shirt had helped a ton. Now my goals for the meet are just to get in the meet in general. I just want to touch, get ideally 3 whites, but I mean 2 whites is still going to get me in the meet, and then go from there. My opener is set at 395. That's probably not going to change. Also didn't worry about cutting. I'm sitting in the low 140s very comfortably, still kind of eating. I don't even want to say I'm eating strict. I mean, I still have pretty much what I want at this point. So, I mean, I'm trying to decrease the amount of variables going into the meet as much as possible. And the last thing I want to worry about is cutting a little bit of weight to make the weight class, trying to fill it back up to get the shirt to fit right and all that. I don't want to deal with that, especially my first time being in equipment. So maybe in the future I'll cut down to 132 in the shirt and kind of see what happens, and maybe start to going after trying to get on the all-time rankings and things like that. But right now that's not my concern. I'm sitting very comfortable in this weight class at 148, and that's really all I want. And this week has been incredibly stress-free for the most part. I mean, usually at this point I'm worried about cutting, and my recovery's gone, and all that kind of stuff. With this, it's really just been much more relaxed. Moving forward after this meet, I'm probably going to have about a 2-week kind of off period. I'll still be training, probably more bodybuilder-like, but I'm really not going to be pushing heavy or powerlifting the following weekend after. I've got to handle some people at SPF Nationals, and then the weekend after that is Memorial Day weekend, so I'll probably get training back into gear sometime around then. And by gear, I mean back in motion, not getting the training into gear. But the overall point of this video and this recap is to take away that getting into equipment for me has been a great learning experience, and that's exactly what I wanted. When it comes to raw training for me, I feel like I know what I need to do to get better. I just need to be patient. I've got plenty of time ahead of me to continue to get strong and continue to get better. But I want to broaden my mental knowledge of powerlifting, and that means raw with wraps, single ply, multiply, and this is just one step closer to better understanding the global picture of powerlifting. So I'm kind of hitting 2 birds with 1 stone by going in equipment and then also going bench only. And I think becoming a good, well-rounded powerlifter is very important just for overall stabilization in life. Many people put powerlifting at this huge forefront of their life, and they try to let that define who they are, but gradually they just need to be who they are, and let powerlifting be a step along the way. And that's what I'm kind of taking from this. This good learning experience, and then obviously putting it back into someone else's hands that hopefully they can take something away from it. I mean, if nothing else, you can learn that maybe I suck getting into the multiply powerlifting at the end of the day on the weekend. But the training cycle went great. I'm not going to complain. I'm excited to see what happens. Like I said, get on the board, get some numbers, and that will make me a very satisfied lifter at the end of the day. I look forward to helping my teammate Joe Scalero as well. He will be competing at 220 in multiply. Also, his old training partner and good friend of mine, Mario, he's trying to chase his elite total, I believe, at 198 in multiply. And then I'm also handling one of my Purdue lifters, Renee. She's chasing her elite total at 132 raw with knee wraps. So it's going to be a great weekend. I'm really looking forward to it. And then on top of it, I get to bench and have some fun as well. I guess if you have any questions about my training cycle or any other trials and tribulations I may have had that I may have for some reason overlooked, you can definitely ask in the comment section, or feel free to get a hold of me through social media. Either way is fine. And I'll definitely let you know how I do through a meet recap over on Elitefts. All my training logs are over there, so you can go back and look and kind of see what I did. I think I videoed almost every single training session for all 8 weeks, for the most part, except for like maybe some deloads, and explained everything. So again, great learning experience. Looking forward to the weekend. Thanks for keeping up and all the support. I really appreciate it. And you can keep up with all this stuff over on Elitefts.com.